people
you.
have been. I mean, I think that he is an example of his prosecution. The charges against him are one of the biggest attacks on freedom of the press that we've seen and freedom of speech.
And yeah, I think sometimes you need somebody to put the hammer down. I think Obama said this, and just say, I'm sorry, you can't expose our secret agents. And we have to think of our security first. Yeah. I mean, yes, I'm sure the government does some gnarly things, but I don't like this. I don't like a guy who pretends that he's the patriot when it's the spies out there who are protecting this country, not Julian Assange.
Bill Maher seems to be back to his old ways, where he's bringing on guests like Tulsi Gabbard and Chris Matthews, as you can see on the screen right here, onto his very own show, Real Time with Bill Maher, that know a whole lot more about the topics that Bill Maher likes to discuss than he does. And it's not a shortage of him getting destroyed on his own show, just like I said, the good old days where Bill Maher would just bring on guests repeatedly on his podcast and on Real Time with Bill Maher and just get destroyed because he doesn't understand these situations as well as people who are actually well researched and actually have a brain that uses logic and reason, such as Tulsi Gabbard and such as Chris Matthews. And this episode is the same thing of Bill Maher once again getting absolutely demolished. It's so bad that Tulsi Gabbard looks a little, squirmy, like she starts squirming in her chair because this destruction is so bad. Let's check this out here from Real Time with Bill Maher.
Where we're at right now, in fact.
Okay, now that WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, oh, good, let's get to this. What?
Oh, it's good.
Me too. Has pled guilty to espionage and secured his freedom. I didn't see this coming, by the way. I didn't think he'd ever get out. What will his legacy be? Yes.
Time served. Time served. He served 6 years, and that's what he's getting.
No, but they're talking about his legacy, and that's what I want to know. Is he a heroic crusader exposing government lies, or he is a reckless traitor who was endangering our freedom?
Yeah, I mean, it depends who you ask. I think that the more people have been, I think that he is an example of his prosecution. The charges against him are one of the biggest attacks on freedom of the press that we've seen and freedom of speech. So
that's based. I agree. And I think that a lot more people are saying, oh my God, democracy is under attack and stuff. And, people are saying that about Trump. Obviously, that's just a kind of a tactic they're using to try their absolute best to get Biden to win. I don't think it's going to work. But anyway, I think this has been happening for a long time. And I think these things are just starting to come to light now that the mainstream media don't have a monopoly on the truth and what people think. More people are just discarding everything that mainstream media says, whether it's right-leaning Fox News or if it's CNN, MSNBC, it doesn't matter. People are just discarding what they say, and they're going to independent journalists and YouTubers, people like Russell Brand and Joe Rogan, in order to get their news now. That they don't get their news from mainstream media. So now, not only are things in real time starting to look scary for democracy and for, people weaponizing the DOJ against their political opponents and stuff like that, but also retroactively, we're looking at these cases and we're saying, hold on, what happened with Julian Assange? What happened with Edward Snowden? Let's look at all these cases, and we're starting to realize this stuff has been going on for a while. This weaponization of the DOJ, this, like Tulsi Gabbard just said, the fact that there is no freedom of the press, this stuff has been going on for a while. And thankfully, we're able to realize that now that we have all these independent journalists that are brave enough to actually speak their minds and try and find the truth, rather than just collect a paycheck from the higher ups and say, here's the truth, even though they know it's a lie. There's definitely still people out there doing that. Hell, Bill Maher might be doing it, but at least there's people out there who are actually willing to forego that paycheck in order to get to the bottom of the truth, like Candace Owens, for example.
Wow, I thought you would go the other way.
No, not at all.
I think Ellsberg looks good right now.
What?
Daniel Ellsberg looks very good right now in what he did. And the Pentagon Papers was about how the Kennedy administration and Johnson administration, not Nixon, what they did to lie about the war.
Well, I don't know all the particulars. I mean, you'd have to really spend months and months going through the amount of stuff he put out. But in general, I think the world's full of bad people. Like I was saying to Ray, the world's full of bad people. And yeah, I think sometimes you need somebody to put the hammer down. I think Obama said this, and just say, I'm sorry, you can't expose our secret agents. And we have to think of our security first. Yeah. I mean, yes, I'm sure the government does some gnarly things, but I don't like this. I don't like a guy who pretends that he's the patriot when it's the spies out there who are protecting this country,
Yeah.
not Julian Assange. Because there are people who want to destroy this country. And there are people who are plotting to get nuclear weapons and all the rest of it.
Well, Bill, I know this is your big moment and everything, but you're completely wrong. A lot more people would have this opinion that Bill Maher is holding right now if the U.S. government didn't turn its own country against them. The decisions and the statements and, everything that they have done for a while, but especially since 2020, has turned a lot of the population just completely against the government and changed our perspective on so many different things. Growing up, you're taught that America is the good guys. Every other country, when they win something, they write it in their favor. But America is unbiased in their history writing, and we just always been the good guys. And that's why we should be able to go to any country we want and replace their government with a democracy, right? We're going in and we're saving them, and we're taking out whatever government they currently have. It's run by terrorists or whatever, and we're gonna insert a democracy, and plant an American flag there. And we always taught that that's a great thing. That's a great thing. And now everybody's starting to wake up because of, like I said, independent journalists and everything like that, but also just decisions that the government is making and things that they're doing directly in our face and letting us know that they just don't care if we see it or not. So now we're all turning against them. And Bill Maher is saying the spies out there are the real patriots. And we're supposed to I just can't agree right now. Yes, they probably are patriots. They probably are really good spies, people who work for the government that do great things for the country, of course. But I mean, the government has done not very many good things recently. It seems like everything is weaponized. Everything is just trying to get reelected. Nothing is actually done for the betterment of the country anymore. So everything should be exposed. In my opinion, everything about the U.S. government should be exposed outside of military, if they're trying to create a new aircraft or something, the new stealth bomber edition shouldn't be exposed by journalists, of course. We should keep that, discreet and hidden away. But in terms of what Julian Assange did, I have to disagree with Bill Maher. And let me know in the comments. I'm sure a lot of you think I'm completely wrong, but let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
And this guy is not the one who made sure that we have not really been attacked since 9/11.
I go to Vietnam every year to teach for a couple weeks, and I got to tell you, the 5 o'clock Follies Hotel, the Rex Hotel, where they used to do the 5 o'clock briefing every afternoon about how many body count, how many we killed. It's all BS. That stuff was never true.
What stuff was never
The
true?
Vietnam War and the numbers of people we were killing and the way we were winning the war. And we're going to get there sooner or later because we're killing them all. No.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
It wasn't true.
Yeah.
But that's different. We attack them. This guy, he is exposing people who are protecting us. We are the ones who have been attacked.
Okay, I agree.
But what he exposed really is how our own government was violating our own civil liberties and trying to cover up things that were very embarrassing to our government. And I think that's the essence of the responsibility of a free press and why it's so important for our democracy.
Okay. One more. This is for you.
I got to agree with Tulsi there. 100% I got to agree with Tulsi. Let me know in the comments if you agree or not. But they consistently, like I was saying, I understand where Bill Maher is coming from. But if you just look objectively, zoom out and look at what the government has done, a lot of bad stuff, a lot. So if they're going to foreign countries or spying on foreign people, that's fine. Let them spy. Maybe don't expose them. If they're doing things within the U.S. that they shouldn't be doing and journalists have that information, I think that the journalists have a duty to expose that information. And I think that the U.S. government and the DOJ has a duty to not punish that person, that journalist, for exposing that information. But anyway, this wasn't the only time that Tulsi Gabbard destroyed Bill Maher and Chris Matthews also schooled Bill Maher. There was also another moment that I played yesterday that I want to revisit because it was just so glorious of Bill Maher getting destroyed once again on his own show, Real Time with Bill Maher.
I don't know why, but we're here with Chris Matthews and Tulsi Gabbard, and the first question is to you. Tulsi, should women be required to register for the military draft? I saw this. This is so interesting. The Democrats, so great at politics. I don't know why they brought it up now. I mean, men, I almost forgot this. Men do still have to register for the draft. Nobody gets.
Well, this is actually something that they also just changed in the legislation through the National Defense Authorization Act. Just a few weeks ago, is now men don't have to register because they're automatically registering them as soon as they turn 18.
Okay.
So you don't have to actually, you don't get to fill out a card or anything anymore.
But I remember I was about to be registered when I just turned 17 in 1973 when they were still drafting for Vietnam, and it was like that was the year. It was like, oh, we're not. Oh, it's like, oh boy, did I luck out on that one. But they still registered you. Now the Democrats in an election year have brought this up for I don't know what reason, saying now we want women to register because there's 250,000 women in the military right now, and if something was so catastrophic that we did have to draft people, why shouldn't women go? But why bring it up in an election year are my two questions.
Well, first of all, we shouldn't have a draft.
At all?
No, I don't think so.
What if it's an emergency?
Well, the fact that they're bringing this up now, to me, points to the fact that the only reason we would need a draft is because our warmongering politicians are starting wars that they know the American people aren't going to support. When you
100%. And that ties back into what I was saying earlier. Of course, Bill Maher disagrees with that because Bill Maher still trusts the government. But for most of us, everybody out there who is using logic and able to analyze the situation unbiased, you can see ever since 2020 especially, but even before that, they've been doing a lot of bad things to the point where our own citizens are turning against the government. You know, so it's, of course, that's why they would use a draft. It would be weaponized. It wouldn't be because we absolutely need it for good reasons, you know, because our nation's under attack or something. It would be because America inserted itself in another war, and now we need more people because our own military isn't willing to fight the war. So we're going to have to go force people, just sheer numbers like Russia is reportedly, or Ukraine is doing, and because they just don't, they can't find people who wants to fight the war. So they're just forcing people. They're forcing men to go fight wars. It's the same thing that's going to happen if they actually use a draft. It's not going to be like, nobody's going to feel a patriotic duty to actually go into the war. They're going to be forcing people, or you're going to go to jail, or maybe worse. Who knows? Let me know in the comments what you think about Bill Maher getting destroyed on his own show. Once again, Real Time with Bill Maher.